welcome to the mat. Today we're going to do a power yoga class. I don't know about you guys, but I'm missing my power yoga studio class. So I thought this would be a good time to do one of those for you. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Let's drop into our practice before we begin. Close your eyes, let your shoulders roll down your back. Hands can rest wherever it feels good for you. So before we get started, let's talk a little bit about power yoga and what exactly the power is in power yoga. It's not the strong poses, although there are many and they will challenge you. It's more what you do when faced with uncertainty, when faced with overwhelming stress or anxiety, or just any kind of adversity. Whether it's in a physical shape, as our power practice is going to invite us to explore, or in our day-to-day lives. The power comes from digging deep and finding the strength to take one more breath, one more step, or hold the pose one breath more. Power yoga certainly creates a physical body that we enjoy, strong, capable, more endurance perhaps. But the real work in the power yoga comes from within. It's finding that ability. It's finding that raw power deep inside and harnessing that for whatever you need it for. Take a nice big in breath. In through your nose. Lift the crown of the head nice and high. And then go ahead and breathe it out with a big sigh. Allow your eyes to blink open. We're going to start on our backs today. So go ahead and find your way down to your mat. Your feet are about hip width and roll all the way onto your back. So once we get down here, I want you to create this nice bridge shape, okay? So your feet are rooting into the mat, your hips are pressing into the floor, all four corners of the feet are pressing down and your hands are by your side. We're going to lift through the glutes and push up. So squeeze your ass cheeks together and push them up towards the sky. At the same time, pull the thighs in towards each other. They're not going to touch more than likely, but you're just getting that feeling of engaging through the inner thighs here. And then go ahead and inhale, lower all the way back down. Nice, let out a nice big exhale. Inhale, lift, find your way to that bridge, and lower. Lift, engaging through the glutes and the inner thighs each time, lower. Two more, just like that, lift, and down, and lift. Now we lower, we hover the hips right over the mat and just peel your right heel off the mat. Inhale, lift, 5 more just like that. Lower down, hover over the mat. Inhale, lift, lower. Up we go, 3, down, 4, down, and 5. Lower down, hover, and then the opposite foot comes up off the mat and lift. Down you go. 4 more. So by now you're probably feeling this. This is 3. Keep going. 2 and 1. Lower down, hover. Now both heels off the mat. Float them up. Lower down, hips hover and lift. Lower, lift, and down. 3, 4, beautiful. 5, come all the way down, just hovering over the mat. Drop the heels and lower down. We're just going to pull the knees in, give them a nice gentle tug, and rock and roll up and over right into your plank shape. So coming into your plank, hands are underneath your shoulders, your feet are as far back as you can get them, and keeping your shoulders over your wrists here. Zip the belly up and in. Now I want you to bring your awareness to that area right below the shoulder blades across your back. This is where your strength comes in. Inhale, reach the crown of the head far away from the heels. Exhale, create a little bit of space behind the heart here. So pushing up and back without rounding through the shoulders. For this first one, we're going to bring the knees to the mat. And then we're going to come down into a cobra shape. So the elbows are going to bend behind you, but really you're just lowering the back and lifting the heart up towards the sky. We're coming right back into that plank shape, so you can curl your toes under, lift the hips up, right back into that plank. And then inhale, up and back, downward facing dog. Heels come towards the mat. Big toes touch. Bend the knees if you need to. Crown of the head reaches towards the mat. Roll forward. Find your way back to that plank shape. Keeping the knees off the mat this time. You're just going to roll to the tops of the feet and lower the hips to the mat, bending slightly through the elbows so that you can lift the heart and maybe look up. So we're coming into a cobra shape. There's a bend in the elbow. The shoulders are going to open and your heart is going to lead here. Then curling up over the toes, find your way back into that plank shape, and then push back into that downward facing dog. Let's go ahead and walk the feet towards the middle of the mat. Walk the hands back towards the feet. We're now in a forward fold. Melt over the legs. Take a nice big in breath, beautiful out breath. And then start to sit down, all the way down into a low crouch. Now for me, I'm really tight here today. My heels are coming up off the mat. It's okay if they do. We're actually going to lift them up in a moment if they don't. If your heels stay to the mat, go ahead and create that little crouch with the heels as far down as you can. We're just stretching through the calves here. Tucking the chin. And then we're coming into our toe stand. So you're going to bring the heels up over the toes, keeping the knees right where they are, and then maybe bringing one hand and then the other into your lap and lifting the heart up, squeezing shoulder blades together behind you. Just working into those toes. Hands come to the mat. We're going to find our way to a forward fold. Press the heels down, drop the head. Keep the knees bent if you need to. Tailbone reaches towards the sky. Melt down over the legs. Heel toe your feet so that they're just underneath your hips here. So not super wide. Maybe just 2 fingers in between your feet, and then roll up, one vertebrae at a time. Reaching up, lifting up, stacking your shoulders over your hips, reaching the arms all the way up, rooting down through the feet, look up. Keep some space as if you're holding a block between your hands and reach up. Beautiful. We're going to keep the hands this space, reach them out in front of you, sit back and down, and find yourself into a wider stance high chair. So tailbone reaches down, sit back, reach the arms out in front of you. And then from here, find your forward fold, melt down over the legs. Inhale back into that chair pose, bend the knees, sit back, reach the arms out in front of you. Melt down, forward fold. Inhale, find your way to that chair. Inhale up, reach up, and melt. Last one, sit back, sit down, reach the arms, and this time we stand all the way up, press palms together, hands come to heart center. Step your feet as wide as your mat, toes out, heels in. You know where this one's going. Tuck the tailbone down, hands stay to heart center. And then we're just going to sit down. Take your time here. We're sitting down into our garland pose, our malasana shape. Heels are down, elbows are inside the knees. If your heels peel up off the mat, that's okay. We're going to interlace the fingers, and as we stand up, root down into all four corners of the feet and reach the hands up overhead, standing up. Whew. Nice. Sit back down, hands fold, sit down, back into that garland. This time we're going to lean over towards your left. So interlace the fingers, reach up, stand up, and then lean over towards your left. Back through center, hands to heart center, all the way down. Sit back, sit down. Interlace the fingers, reach up, overhead to the other side. Back all the way down. Let's do one more time each side. So sitting back, sitting down. It's starting to get a little easier here. Inhale all the way up. And then back down through center. Coming all the way up over towards your right. And then down. And then all the way up and over towards your left. And down. All the way into your forward fold. Melt over the legs. Turn the toes forward for this forward fold. Your feet can be a little bit wider than hip width. Grab opposite elbows. Head is super heavy here. Maybe you sway side to side. Fingertips come to the mat. Heel toe the feet in towards each other, right underneath the hips. Half lift. Plant the hands. Step back with your right foot and then your left foot into that plank shape. So here we are in this plank. Our vinyasa today is going to be this modification. So roll forward, so the heels are over the toes, lower down halfway into that chaturanga. From there, bring the hips down, release the toes, find your way into a cobra shape. So elbows are still bent. Curl toes under, find your way back to chaturanga. Whoop, and then press up. Inhale up and back, downward facing dog. Right foot's going to step forward between the hands. Reach the arms all the way up into a crescent. Keeping those arms just about shoulder width here. Turning pinkies towards each other. And then on this first one, if you like, you can bend that back knee nice and deeply here. Reach up, look up. Push into the back leg, hinge forward. Reach for the front of the mat. Sweep the arms around behind you, interlace the fingers, and lift up. Nice, find that nice stretch. Again, you can bend the knees if you need to here. You don't have to. Maybe push them straight. Release the hands, reach them all the way up. And then from here, we're going to open up into a warrior two. So your right leg is forward and bent. Your left leg is back into that warrior two. Flip the palm, reverse. Exhale, right elbow to knee or right fingertips to the floor, left hand all the way up. Nice. So peel that top shoulder open. Inhale up into that warrior two. Straighten your front leg, reverse. We're coming into that triangle shape. So just hinging forward and float. Look up. Open up. Nice, beautiful. Back into that warrior two. Lift the back heel up and return to that crescent warrior. If you like, so I'm going to slide my back foot in a little bit. You can float that front heel. You don't have to. Nice. Sink lower. Hold here. Regardless of whatever your mind is telling you, don't even listen. Beautiful. Place that front heel down, open back up into that warrior two. Hoo-wee. Reverse. And then we're coming forward. We're bringing that back hand outside of the thigh of that front leg, spinning the back heel up and placing both hands on each other for a twist. And then unravel that twist, reach all the way up. Both hands come down into that variation of your vinyasa here. So your heels are over your toes, lower down into a chaturanga. Lower the hips down as you scoop up into that cobra. Hips come down. Curl back over the toes, back through that chaturanga into your plank shape. And then all the way up and back. Opposite foot comes forward, so your left foot all the way up, crescent. Reach up. Relax your shoulders. If you bent the knee on the first side, go ahead and do it again. Relax. Find your strength here. Hinge forward, reach for the front wall. Straighten that back leg. Hands come around behind you, interlace the fingers, open the shoulders here. When you appreciate that open shoulder with that twist. Inhale all the way back up into that crescent and then into your warrior two. So just heel toe that front foot into the middle of the mat. Flip and reverse this warrior. And then extended side angle. I'm going to bring my fingertips to the mat. You can bring your elbow to your knee if that works better. Sink low. Inhale, warrior two. Straighten that front leg. Hinge, triangle shape. Relax your shoulders, push into the mat. Reach the hip crease up off the thigh if you can. Back into your warrior two. Swivel that back heel up. Oops. Reach up, crescent warrior. Let's go ahead and lift that front heel. Shaking is good. Finding different pathways for things. How does your body, what does your mind tell you to do at this point? Sink a little lower. Try to take that deep curve out of the back by bending slightly through the back knee. Nice. Front heel goes down, windmill all the way open, back into that warrior two. Swivel, reverse into that warrior two, reverse warrior. And then that backhand comes forward, heel comes off the mat. Hook the backhand over the thigh and find yourself into that revolve. So you're looking out over the front thigh. Nice twist. Beautiful. Inhale, reach all the way up. Ooh-wee. Testing balance here. Find your way through that modified or variation of that vinyasa here. Plank shape. Chaturanga. Hips come down. Release the feet as you open up into that cobra. Curl the toes under, back into that chaturanga, and then straight up into that plank shape. Up and back. Downward facing dog. Head is heavy here. Okay, right leg reaches up and back. Step between the hands, find your way back to that crescent warrior. Right foot forward, hip width through the feet, and then inhale, reach all the way up. Nice. From here, hands come to heart center, and then we're just going to plant that back foot down, find your way into a warrior two stance with the legs. Now maybe open up into warrior two. Beautiful. Heel toe that back foot closer to the front by one step. And then let's come all the way down into a surfer's lunge. So if your heel comes off the mat, you're coming over that left leg, right heel is peeling or right toes are peeling off the foot. Nice big stretch. Reach all the way up. Maybe look up. If the heel comes down and you're sitting really close to the floor, that's great here. Maybe you can reach that front arm forward. Beautiful. We're coming all the way back up into our warrior two. So that right arm reaches, push down into that left heel. You can use your left hand to help you. Warrior two. Straighten that front leg. Triangle. Inhale. Let's find our way to a wide-legged forward fold. Shoulders stack over the hips. Hands come behind your back, interlace the fingers. Toes face the long edge of your mat and fold down over the legs. Take 2 breaths here. Bend slightly through the knees so that you're not hyperextending that joint. Inhale, release the hands down underneath you. Find a nice flat back here. Heel toe your feet out a little bit if you like. I'm gonna hop back on my mat. And then we're going to reach that right arm up and open, taking that big twist. You're trying to stack the top arm over the bottom. right down to the other side. And look up. Beautiful. From here, turn your left toes to what is the back of the mat. Find your way to that crescent warrior. Take your time, reach up, look up. Nice. Open up into that warrior two. Skarsdasana, what was your front of your mat, come all the way down as you peel the left toes off the mat. Again, if your right foot stays planted on the mat, that's great. You can keep that right hand down and reach the left arm up, opening up into this shape. And then let's find our way to our warrior two. Straighten the front leg, hinge and find your triangle. You can use a block here. You can bring fingertips to shin. Lift all the way back up, warrior two. And then root up, hands come together overhead. Turn toes forward and then sink down, melt down into your wide-legged forward fold. Now for this one, make sure you have the space here. For this one, go ahead and bring your head towards the mat. So it may not touch the mat all the way. If it doesn't, you can use your arms for this. You can bend your elbows so that the elbows are bent and maybe start to lift the heels off the mat, stacking the hips up over the shoulders. Again, if that doesn't work and you're a little bit more narrow through this shape, you can certainly just fold down and start to get used to that, walking your hands underneath you. Coming back out of the shape, hands underneath the shoulders, flat back. Let's go ahead and turn, walk back towards the front of our mat. Hands come down either side of that front foot. Take that variation on that vinyasa. Chaturanga. Right to cobra. Hui, take some getting used to. You're opening up the heart here. Right back into chaturanga. Hips lift, but the shoulders don't move. And then press straight up. And back. I like that sequence. Let's work through it one more time. Your right leg is going to reach forward, crescent warrior, reach all the way up. Nice. Open up, plant the back foot down, warrior two, and then sit down, back of the mat, into your surfer lunge, back into your warrior shape. Hands to hips, toes face forward, melt down over the legs. Hands can come to the mat or the outside of the feet if you like. Flat back here. Inhale, half lift. Turn your toes so that the back of your mat is now the front of your mat, and we're walking the hands all the way to either side of that front foot. Reach up, crescent warrior. Sink low. Windmill open, warrior two. Beautiful. Surfer lunge, back of the mat. Hands can come to heart center. You can stay up nice and high. You can bring the fingertips down and reach up. Beautiful. Right back into warrior two. Open up. Push that knee out and away. And then find your way into that wide-legged forward fold. Toes forward, arms fold overhead. Stretch out the shoulders here. Inhale, half lift, hands underneath the shoulders. And then we're walking the hands all the way towards the top of the mat. Through that sequence again. Big toes touch. Hands underneath the shoulders. Chaturanga. Right into cobra. So the upper body doesn't move here except to lift the heart. Heart lowers, toes curl, butt comes up even with your shoulders, and then you press up and back. Ooh-wee. Nice. All right. Here is the gravy of this practice. Everything we've been coming for. Right leg comes forward. Find your way, crescent warrior. Reach up. Ooh-wee. Nice. Reach all the way up. Now from here, we're going to step forward right into your chair pose. So reach the arms forward towards the front of the room, but not straight forward, kind of at an angle. And then just hinge forward as you slide that back foot, keeping about a finger's distance between the feet. Sit back, sit down into your chair pose. Hui, stand all the way up. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold, forward, fold. Hands come down. Inhale, sit back, sit down, reach up, chair pose. You can heel toe your feet together if you like, if you need the legs to press into each other. Otherwise, I want you to bring your hands back and feel your butt muscles engage here. Sit back, sit down. Now feel your quads engage. Now lift your heart, reach your arms forward. Press your palms together, and then look out over this left shoulder and hook the elbow over the thigh. This should feel fairly familiar. Lift the heel on that front foot or that left foot, and then just slide it back. You're in a revolved crescent now. We've been here before. And then we're going to open all the way up into warrior two. Right leg is forward, left leg is back. Takes a little bit of a motion there. Nice. Half moon. Front hand comes down just outside the pinky toe. Float the back leg off the mat. Front foot, your right foot still faces towards the top of your mat. You're going to step off your mat with your left leg as if you're aiming towards the corner. So now my new front of the mat is the front corner. Toes are out, heels are in. Sit down, garland shape. From here, nice and slow, we're going right back into that half moon in the original position. That right foot has not moved. Fingertips come down. You're just opening back up, Ardha Chandrasana, and then down into that garland. There we go. Right back up. Hooey. And down. Whew. One more time, just like that. Fingers come down, hand up. If you don't like balance, this is torture. And then last time, into your garland. Woo-wee. Nice. And then all the way back, half moon. We have to get back to where we came from. And then slowly bend into that right leg. Left foot comes to the mat. Warrior two. Let's flush it out with that vinyasa sequence. Plank, chaturanga, cobra. Back into that chaturanga. And then straight up. Plank. Whoo-wee. All right, here we go. Left foot in between the hands into your crescent. Reach all the way up. Sink low. And I'm working at this too, you guys. You're not alone. Nice. Reach the arms out. Pull belly in. Neutral through the tailbone. Root down through that left leg. Reach forward right into your chair. Whew. Sink low. Hands come together at the heart. Twist and turn. Hook your right arm over the left thigh. Maybe look up. Sit back. Peel that right foot off the mat. Slide it back into that crescent. All right, you're going to get to see the back of me here. We're going to windmill all the way open into that warrior two. Hooey. Sink low. Sit down. Half moon. You know where we're going here. So we're not going to take as long building it. You're just going to float the front hand outside of the toes. Find your half moon, like you're leaning against a wall. You can use a block here, or you can float. Find that goddess shape, stepping off your mat, looking towards the edge, or in my case, right into a wall. Sit low. Back into that half moon. Pop up, hinge from the hips, and open up. Sit down, garland. Whoop, it's like that front foot, that left foot is glued to the mat. Pop up, hinge, lift, fall over. There you go, that's number 3, all the way down, all the way through, sit low, take a breath. Last time, half moon, left fingers down, oops, fall on your face, open up, find some length here, take a breath. Man, when you're ready to quit, you know exactly how to dig deep for that power. Bend into that front knee and float your way into that warrior two. Whoop, against the wall. Sit low. Last time, I promise, this is the last time through that modified vinyasa sequence. plank, chaturanga. Hips come down, release the toes, lift the heart, squeeze the shoulder blades together, really peel your heart up, look up. Curl the toes, lift the hips, right back into that chaturanga, straight up. Knees come down, sit all the way down. Whoo-wee. Bring your feet out in front of you. Whew. All right, now that we've gotten through the hard part, time to cool it down a little bit. Let's take your right leg over your left, hinge at the hips, create a little figure four here, flex the right foot, and then bring the left foot to the mat. So a seated pigeon. You can just rock your feet a little side to side if that feels good. Nice. If you need more sensation here, you can slide the hips forward towards the feet. Use the hands behind you to keep lifting that heart. Everything we did today hinged on lifting the heart and finding your power deep from within. Nice. Okay, from here, we're going to, let's see, how should we get into this? Let's go ahead and release that right foot, bring it out in front of you, and just walk your left foot behind you. So if you can come to the top of that foot, that's awesome. I have a very old knee on this leg, a few decades. So I'm going to keep my foot flexed and next to my hip. Actually, I'm going to slide onto my mat here. And then sliding back, you're targeting this left quad. So you adjust where you need to, how far you slide back. Most of you will come right here, hang out with me in this spot. Some of us are a little bit more bendy, a little bit more stretchy, and might come down onto the forearms. And then others still might come all the way onto the back in this shape. I'm not one of those. Doesn't matter, you don't have to be. Try to relax your shoulders wherever you are. I'm gonna back out of it a little bit. So if the more you square off your hips, the deeper of a stretch you'll get here. Start to walk out. Coming into our pigeon. So we're just going to bend the knee of that right leg, slide that left leg behind you, and then square your hips up over that, into that space between the legs. Fingertips come to the mat. Engage through the glutes here. So squeeze your butt cheeks and lift your heart. And then melt over the legs. Come down onto your forearms. Drop the head. Walk your hands back underneath your shoulders, and then go ahead and swivel off onto, or slide off onto that right hip, and bring your left leg right over the top, maybe crossing your legs into your garland shape here, or your gomugasana, your eagle pose. Your knees are going to stack, your heels come by the opposite hips, and then hands come by your side. If you want a little bit more in this shape, you can bring your arms to eagle arms, scooping the right elbow underneath the left, and then twisting around the hand around the wrist, hooking I like to hook my middle finger on my thumb, and then pushing the elbows out away as you round over the legs and hook the elbows over the knee. Go ahead and unhook the elbow, unravel, unwind. Don't go too far. You're just going to reach the right leg forward, create that figure four with the left. And let's do that whole sequence on the opposite side. So if you had to scoot yourself forward on the one side, you might do it again. Maybe rocking a little side to side here. Relax your shoulders. Peel your shoulder blades together. Lift the heart. Drop the head back if you like. You know, sometimes I feel like just lifting the heart actually uplifts my heart, right? So just the action of leading with the heart space can make you feel like you're in a wonderful mood regardless of what's going on. I think we might need that a little bit more now than before. All right, let's find our way out of this shape. So just scooching the hips back, bring that left leg forward, the right leg behind you. So this knee on this side is a little more cooperative for me. So I can come to the top of the foot on this one and then slide back, almost twisting a little bit to get a deeper stretch where I need it. You can certainly be more symmetrical here if that works for you. Just be careful to honor your body and what you need in this shape. Just because I find a way into a shape that works for me doesn't mean that that particular shape is going to feel good for you. Ultimately, you know what feels good and what doesn't. Start to walk up out of this shape and then find our way into that pigeon. So you're going to bend the left knee and then scooch that right leg behind you into your squeaky mat. Finding your way into that pigeon shape. Lifting the heart. And then maybe, if it feels good to you, you might lower down. Maybe making a pillow out of the hands and coming all the way down. Just be careful not to slide too far over towards the right side. Doing what feels good and following the path of least resistance are not always the same thing. Sometimes your body actually craves a stretch that is counterintuitive to your alignment. So if you play around a little bit, sometimes you find a sweet spot. If you come into this shape and you're all hunched and your shoulders are up around your ears and you feel like there's a huge bend in your back and you're dumping the belly towards the heel and you just feel all kinds of wrong, go ahead and back up to the last place that felt good and then start again. Let's slide off onto that left hip, sweep that right leg around, finding our way to that eagle shape. The knees stack. So ideally, you're trying to get the knees on top of each other, but all kinds of things limit that, right? So body shape, maybe like me, you have ample supply of hip flesh. So no matter how flexible my hips get, getting those knees stacked is not always realistic. You want to root both sit bones down into the mat. And then from here, just take that arm underneath. So go the opposite way. You can remember which opposite was. So for me, it's the left arm underneath this time. Of course, if you rewind it and I said it wrong, sorry. And then maybe hinging and hooking. Go ahead and unravel, unwind, bring your hands behind you, scoop the legs out and open, place the feet down on the mat, or if you've turned off the mat, and then just windshield wiper to the right, to the left. Taking any moves that feel fairly intuitive here. Thank you so much for joining me for Power Yoga today. Remember that your power is not necessarily the strength within each shape. The power is in digging deep to find your version of your yoga practice that makes you feel alive and invigorated. Thank you so much for joining me on the mat today. Have a fabulous rest of your day, whatever it brings. Namaste.